Oh my goodness. Daniel Gomez. I haven't had him on here for I don't even know what the last time you were on here. I can't even remember, Daniel. He is one of my favorite speakers. Get ready. Get a pen, get a paper, and go speed. Get ready. Do that 1.5 because he talks fast, he talks amazing. You're going to want to write every single thing down, and that's all I'm going to say. Daniel, thank you so much.
My dear sister. Happy birthday, by the way. Your birthday was yesterday. Woo woo, 21 years old. Let's go.
Finally, I wish.
Well,
So we
yes, well, hope you had a blessed birthday and thank you for having me on your summit. I'm excited to add value and I'm definitely going to come from a different angle. So whenever you're ready for me to go, just let me know and I'm excited to just add value to your audience. So,
Yes, to be my guest, Daniel. Thank you. All
all
yours.
right. Well, good afternoon, everybody from San Antonio, Texas. Yes, that's a real tree and behind me. This is our corporate office here, and I'm coming to you live out of San Antonio, Texas. And today I'm going to give you a message called Loving Yourself. Miriam asked me to give you a special, different message, and I'm just going to be totally transparent. I'm going to be raw, and I'm going to talk about me. Because the truth is this, you know what the problem is in your life and in your business? It's you. Write this down. I want you to write this down, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to start from the very get-go. You, you, Dr. Reed, has a lot to do with what happens to you. You, Nikki Cruz, you have a lot to do with what happens to you. You, Andre, have a lot to do with what happens to you. And when I really took that and said, Daniel, you have a lot to do, Daniel Gomez, inspires with what happens to you. And I'll never forget, Miriam, about 4 months ago, my dear friend called me. We were just talking about business for 2024, and we had a good year, but you know what? It was a hard year. And we were just talking about what I could have changed, what I could have done. And it was just a conversation that we had. And she said this. She says, you know what, Daniel, I'm going to tell you something, but don't get mad at me. Can I speak into your life? And I said, you know what? Why not? Right? Why not? It was just one of those character building days. And she says, something needs to change within you for your business to grow even more. And she says, can I speak into your life? I said, yes. She goes, God is asking something of you, Daniel, for the next level of business, is what she told me, Dr. Reed. And I said, okay. And this is what she said, Nikki. She goes, don't get mad, but God wants 6 months sober from you. And the first instinct that I said, Rosemary, was this was, what? What? You know why I said what? Because God had been putting that in my heart to let go of wine for a while. So I want you to ask yourself this question. What am I coping with right now in my business? What am I coping with? Love yourself enough to be honest with yourself, because Daniel Gomez inspires how to be honest enough with himself to ask to say this, right? Daniel, in some times of your day, and sometimes in your month, you're coping on wine because you're stressed out, you got things going on, and you're leaning on wine more than you're leaning on God. And when she told me this, I was like, man, Joy, what? But I was mad at myself, right? Think about this, right? Like I'm here and I'm not giving up this wine because I'm here, but I'm expecting my business to go up. I want God to bless my business here, but I'm not giving this up. So you're here. What is your right? What is the thing that you're not willing to change? What is the thing, right? Love it. Write this down right now. Love yourself enough to make the hard changes right now on Valentine's Day. Love yourself enough to make the hard changes that you need to make. What's up here that you're not willing to change? And I had to be honest with myself. I said, man, I'm down, right? We even though we had a business in a year in the black, even though we were very profitable, right? I was expecting quantum leaps in 2024. Even though we grew 20%, I wanted a 500%. That's what I was really expecting. So I was kind of like, man, so if I wanted this result up here, something had to change here. And I made a cognitive decision, ladies and gentlemen. I made a cognitive decision to say, Daniel, you need to give up wine for 6 months. That's what God was asking of me. So I went back and I said, God, if this is really of you, like help me get through this. And the beautiful thing happened is this, is that I won the Triple Crown. Yes, you heard me right. Daniel Gomez Inspires won the Triple Crown. You may be asking, what's a Triple Crown? Not, you're not even a horse racer. Well, mine's better than the horses. I didn't drink in November on Thanksgiving. I didn't drink in December for Christmas. And as a grown man, at a young age of 51 years old, I had my first sober New Year's Eve. Not one glass of wine, not one anything. And you know the beautiful thing about this is as I was winning in November, as I was winning in December, as I was winning in New Year's, and then we just had the Super Bowl, and guess what? It was my first sober Super Bowl in over 30 years. Yes, you heard me right. In over 30 years. Guess what happened to my income? Guess what happened to our revenue? It started going up and up and up. You see, because I had to be honest with myself, with Daniel Gomez inspires to make the hard changes that I was unwilling to make. And this is the thing. I told myself, well, I really don't I don't drink a lot. I drink wine every once in a while, but the problem is this. I was drinking wine when I was leaning more on the wine than I was leaning more on God. Let me say it again. I was drinking the wine when I was leaning more on the wine than I was leaning more on God. So what's your coping mechanism? Be honest with yourself, right? This is love yourself enough right now to make the hard changes so that you can really win in 2025. Are you coping on food? Are you coping on pornography? Are you coping with alcohol? Are you coping with work? Are you busy at work, like not facing real life stuff at home with your kids, with your children because you're getting lost in your work? What are you coping with? Ask yourself that question. And then ask yourself, what is that? Like myself, I'm being totally transparent. Once I gave up being alcohol free, the revenue launched to another dimension. And I don't say that arrogantly. I say that by the grace of God because I had to make some hard changes on myself. And you know what I realized is, listen to this. I loved myself enough. I loved myself enough to realize that I had to stop believing those limited beliefs that I was still believing. You see, sometimes we don't realize, we think we know it all when we hit, right? You hit 100,000 as a business owner, you hit a quarter million as a business owner, and oh, I'm good. You hit a half a million, wherever you're at right now on the scale. And then we become Mr. Miss Know It All, right? And we think, oh, well, things not bad. This is the lie I believe, Nikki. This is the lie I believe, Rosemary. Is I said, well, we built $1 million business with me drinking. I was drinking wine, God, Miriam. I was drinking wine. I already hit millionaire status. Like I did it drinking wine. So why do I gotta change now? That was the lie I was telling myself. But the exponential growth that you want, ladies and gentlemen, in your business, the exponential growth that you want in your life, the exponential happiness, the exponential joy, the exponential relationships that you want is on the other side of what you're not willing to change. And you have to love yourself enough. You have to love yourself enough. You have to love yourself enough that even on the days you don't feel like it, you got to push to do the things you don't feel like doing. And for me, it was taking time to be honest with myself and to say, Daniel, this has been on your heart for many, 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 many weeks already. God has been whispering that to give up the alcohol, to give up the wine, and I did it. And I can tell you that I don't even know what's going on inside of Daniel, but I'm changing for the better. And not that I was a bad person, but this is what happens, right? There's more self realization that goes on because you're clear headed and you think a lot clearer. And I never thought that I would ever be at this season in my life where I would say, man, like, I really don't miss drinking wine. I really don't miss drinking mixed drinks. I don't drink. We went and had a wonderful dinner last night. We celebrated an early Valentine's Day dinner with me and my wife, and I drank water. And I'm sharing my heart with you because what is it that's keeping you really from going to that next level? What's the hard change that you're not doing because you're believing the lie that you need it? You're believing the lie. You're justifying something within yourself. You're reasoning with yourself and you're thinking, what is it? And Some of you need to love yourself enough to accept a higher increase in your business. What do I mean by that? I had a coaching client yesterday. We had a great coaching session yesterday. One of the best days of her lives. They received an engagement ring. The engagement ring, when they went to go pick it up, they saw the value of the ring. It came out in the purchase as they were there hitting its sides and everything. It was over a $5,000 ring. It was a nice ring. And one of the things my client said was, I don't know if I can receive this ring. I don't know if I can receive it, right? It's an expensive ring. It's a $10,000 ring. And as we were just talking, I asked her, I said, can I reflect something back to you? She's like, yeah. The fact that you think that that ring is $10,000, that it's way too much for a ring to be given to you, tells me that you're not valuing yourself the way you should value yourself. And some of you need to love yourself enough to value yourself more. Some of you need to love yourself enough to receive, listen to me, to receive at those higher levels. Because the only reason you're stuck at that cap, whether it's a million, whether it's half a million, whether it's 250,000 or 100,000, is because, write this down, your, right, your net worth is equated to your self-worth. Your net worth is equated to your self-worth. And until you allow yourself to, you love yourself enough to allow yourself to receive those higher revenues, those higher wages, those higher paying coaching clients, business partners, whatever it may be for you, if you don't allow yourself to receive it, you're not going to receive it. And this is what happens. I want to give you some insight. This is what happens. I talk about it in my book, The Makings of a Millionaire Mind. How many people have you known that have a good week, a good month, maybe they even had a good year. And then this is a lie they tell themselves in right here in their mind, in their brain. They say, was it a fluke? Did this just happen by chance? They don't believe they deserve it. They don't love themselves enough to believe they deserve it. And then that's where the self-sabotage starts, Nikki. That's where the self-sabotage starts, Rosemary. And then you're like, what happened to so and so? Where did they go? Well, they hit a certain level of success and they didn't love themselves enough to reach and stay at that higher level, right? Because anybody can hit something once, maybe even twice, but to sustain it, it takes the new identity. And write this down. You have to love yourself enough to embody the new identity that God's asking to embody. You have to love yourself enough to embody the new identity. What is that identity right now? You're stuck in imposter syndrome because you're not loving yourself enough to embrace the new identity, and you're self-sabotaging yourself, you're procrastinating, you're overthinking it, you're having analysis by paralysis because you want everything to be perfect. Because you know why you want everything to be perfect? Because you're not embracing the new identity. That's your problem right there. So love yourself enough to embrace and embody the new identity. Well, what do you mean, Daniel? Well, let me explain, right? On this side of the wall, we have our huge award-winning podcast of the year, the Daniel Gomez Inspires Show. And then over here we have our book publishing division. And the thing is this is that the identity that Daniel Gomez Inspires has is to me, I'm the number one motivational speaker in the world. The world will know who Daniel Gomez Inspires is in 2025. That's one identity. My second identity is I'm an award-winning podcaster. When I started my podcast, hear my heart in this. Hear my heart in this. I had to love myself enough to receive that podcast because when I started it, the question I asked myself was, who's going to listen to my podcast? Who's going to listen to my podcast? That's what I said. But I was already winning and speaking. I already had a successful speaking business. But when that happened to me, I was like, man, there was a little bit of imposter syndrome there that I had to overcome. And then when I wrote my book, The Makings of a Millionaire Mind, I procrastinated on that too because I'm like, well, who's going to read my book? People are going to hate me because I'm talking about money. I'm going to get pushback. So I delayed the writing of my book many, 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 many weeks because of imposter syndrome. Because I'm like, well, Who am I to be talking about money? And God says, no, they need to read what's in your heart. They need to read what's in your book. The world needs it. And we've sold thousands and thousands and thousands of copies, over 30,000 copies of our book, The Makings of a Millionaire Mind. And we've changed thousands of lives worldwide. Imagine if I wouldn't have loved myself enough to receive that level of success in a book. Think about that. So what is your thing? What is your thing that you're not loving yourself enough to receive? What is that identity that you're not embracing? What is that identity that you're not embracing? So I want you to really take a moment as you go through the rest of this day on Valentine's Day. It's everybody saying happy Valentine's Day. God is good. God is love. Yes, God is love. God didn't create you by accident. The reason you're on this watching me right now, it's not by accident. Nobody who watches me speak is by accident. So I really want you to think about on this Valentine's Day, right? Sometimes we love so many other people except ourselves. And I really want you to take a moment to love yourself enough. Look yourself in the mirror. Get with yourself today at some point and just speak to your own self. Speak to yourself. Look yourself in the mirror and say, what is that one thing I'm not willing to change? Or maybe for you, it's two that's hindering my life, that's hurting my life, hindering my business. Because I want to be here, but I'm not. I'm down here. And for me, like I mentioned, I was totally transparent with you. For me, it was alcohol. I'm proud to say that by the end of this month, I'm going to be 4 months alcohol free. 4 months alcohol free. I feel better than ever. I don't miss feeling groggy. I don't miss feeling. Thank you, my sister. I appreciate that. I don't feel feeling foggy headed, whatever you want to call it. I don't miss it. And the truth is this. A dear friend of mine, Tommy Bonner, said this. He goes, Daniel, I love you, man. You're crazy. You're more fun when you're not drinking. I said, thank you, Tommy. He goes, oh, and by the way, Daniel, I'm gonna give you this advice. I said, what's that, Tommy? He says, man, I've never had anybody tell me they quit drinking and their life went to shit. Let me say again. Tommy Bonner said this, Daniel, I've never had anybody tell me I quit drinking and my life went to crap. And you know the truth? My life wasn't crap. It hasn't gone to crap. We're only going up. We're still winning. And you have to love yourself enough not to care what other people say. Right? I don't walk into a networking event. I don't walk into a conference. I was just in Virginia Beach. I'm going to Atlanta. We'll be in New Orleans. We have so many events that we're gonna go speak at. And I don't walk in there and say, I used to drink or I quit drinking. No. I'm Daniel. I don't drink. If somebody says, hey, you want to, I don't drink. Simple as that. You don't have to explain yourself. Some of you feel like you have to explain your whole backstory when there's no need for you to explain no backstory. Why? You don't own it, an explanation to anyone. So love yourself enough to make the tough decisions. Love yourself enough to go out there and be what you created to be. Love yourself enough to let go of those Achilles heels that are hindering you. Let yourself love yourself enough to make those hard changes to get to where you need to be at. Right now it's February 14th. We're 6 weeks into 2025. And maybe you haven't had the start that you want. People are saying, man, Daniel, business is slow. I'm like, you know what? Business for us, we're breaking records. We had a record breaking January. We're going to have a record breaking February. Our team is doing amazing. But I had to change. Listen to this. I realized I had to change in here in my brain and my mind and my inside of me. I had to change in order for things to change. And some of you right now, you're not loving yourself enough to be honest with yourself. You're expecting things to change. They're not changing because you're not changing. Your thinking's not changing, right? Your brain's not changing. You need a brain changer moment. It's what you're needing. So write down, as we're coming to the end of this, write down, write down what are three things in your life? What are three things in your business that you need to change? And be honest. Love yourself enough to be honest with yourself. Like love yourself enough to stop lying to yourself. The lie that I was telling myself, I'm speaking to me, right? I'm coming to you from a place of transparency, because the lie I was telling myself was this, was I can't have a good time without drinking. I can't host an event without having a big mixer and me buying the first round of drinks. That's the lie I was telling myself. And the moment I got rid of the lie, the moment I stopped believing the lie, my life changed. And I can guarantee you that soon, this year, I'm going to be unrecognizable to many of you, because that's how dramatic my change is going to continue to be. So just know this, and I'm going to end with this story. If today somebody told you, Dr. Reed, if today somebody told you, Nikki, if today somebody told you, Rosemary, Andre, that you have 2 weeks to live, you have 2 weeks to live, the question I want you to ask yourself is, what would you do differently? What would you do differently? Would you love yourself enough to be happier? Would you love yourself enough to be more appreciative of things? What would it be? I want to give you a gift. I want to give you part of our PDF. Text the word millionaire, just the word millionaire by itself. No emoji, no nothing. Just millionaire to 210-942-5059. That's 210-942-5059. And I want to give you a complimentary PDF to help you start changing the way you think. And then what I want to do for my sister Miriam's audience is, I want to give you a complimentary discovery session of 30 minutes. Send me an email and put Miriam as subject line, Miriam's name, and email me at daniel@danielgomezspeaker.com. That's daniel@danielgomezspeaker.com. And I want to give you a complimentary 30-minute discovery session and see how I can help you. Because, right, I've made the hard decisions. By no means have I arrived, because I'm still on my journey. But I can tell you, I started loving myself that much more, because I'm worth it. And you know what? You're worth it, ladies and gentlemen. So have an amazing, amazing Valentine's. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself. I'm here to ask any question. Sister Miriam, if you have any questions, I'm here to pour into y'all still. So whatever I can do to add to your audience, thank you so much for taking time to listen to me. And I'm just speaking from my heart today, because I was told to talk about love.
So thank you so much for being so vulnerable and honest and authentic. Thank you, Daniel, so much. I mean, I don't really know you to be anything else anyways. So I did see a cup that said Daniel Gomez and like DG.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm like, I want one of those next time I see you in Maryland again.
Yeah, so this was the first cup. So we gave this out. This cup's like 5 years old. It was from our first sticker shock.
There you go.
So we gave it out. But yes, I'll tell you what, I'll get you one.
Oh, awesome. And I had the pleasure of meeting Daniel and his beautiful wife last year in October, it was, right? In Maryland? No,
Yeah, it
sorry.
was,
Here it was in May. This year it's going to be in October. So I look forward to that. Thank you so much. So the contact info, if you will, go onto my Facebook page in the chat underneath the
okay.
live. So that's the best place to put it. And then also, if anyone can't find it and you can't find it in the chat, just connect with me and I'll connect you on Messenger chat because that's where I live. That's my address.
Yes.
Send me postal codes there. Anyway, so that's the best place. Daniel, can you tell us which year you won the podcast of the year
In
award or
2020. In
2020?
2020.
Oh,
We wanted in 2020. I remember that I went to go speak in Sacramento, California, and then I met Tom Bilyeu. I shared the stage with Tom Bilyeu, and I met Alex Stern, the co-founder of Constant Contact, billionaire. And we just became friends. And I was saying, God put it in my heart to start this podcast. And he goes, we're just having a conversation. He goes, dude, I'll be a guest on your podcast. I'm like, you will, Alec? He goes, yeah. And he gave me the confidence to do it. And
mhm.
after that, we had Alex Stern, we had Brad Lee, we've had some. I mean, it just, we won 2020, and I just cried, because I really faced imposter syndrome, because even though I had success underneath me, Miriam, I was like, who's going to listen to my podcast? And I think that happens a lot to people around
Yeah,
us.
Apparently everyone's gonna listen to your podcast. But it was so funny. I'm like, didn't he win? And I'm like, which year was it? And I couldn't remember because even it was even my coach, Robert J. Moore, who said, oh, Daniel Gomez, yeah, he just won something for like an award for his podcast. And I'm like, huh, I got to get myself on that podcast.
Yeah, we need to get you on there, as a matter of fact, for sure.
Let's do it for sure. But always super enriching. Yeah, we do have. Oh my gosh, we're so ahead. So after you is Jose, actually, who you also know because Daniel's with us in the group, and it was Jose's event in Maryland that we where do you guys live? You and your wife live where?
We live in San Antonio, Texas. San Antonio, Texas.
Right, because I gotta at some point, you, Michael Faber, uh, um, Spencer Jones, like beautiful invitations all the time, and I really want to go one day.
Yes. Well, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to, they can ask any question if they want to ask a question.
Going on.
Nikki, I think Nikki unmuted
Well,
herself. You have a question, Nikki?
well, Daniel, so encouraging and so inspiring because I've just launched my podcast. And I can tell you, I'm going to be inviting you on as a guest. I'm doing the first lot on my own. And I think a lot of that is just to build up the confidence. And knowing that you went out there and did it, already having that achievement with imposter syndrome. And the questions you put forward to us this morning are really heart-wrenching. What is it that's holding me back? What is it that God is calling me? I say God because I'm a Jesus freak. What is it that God is calling me to release and surrender so that I can receive his greater blessing? And
Yes.
that's putting it in my language. So powerful to sit down and spend some time examining yourself. So just awesome talk. I think you were on the first summit I ever attended with Marianne, and I remember sitting here going, this
Yes.
guy's got it. So thank you. And thank you for your vulnerability. You know, people hide too many things away and then they don't get to deal with it. So appreciate it. Thank
Yeah,
you
and
so
you
much.
know, and you, Nikki, you're welcome. You're welcome, and I'd be honored to be on your podcast. And I think the like, right, I wasn't an alcoholic. I didn't drink a lot, but I drank enough to hinder me from where God wanted to take me. And sometimes we make the excuse of, well, I don't eat too much. I don't shop too much. I don't do this too much. Well, are you doing that a little bit too much where it's keeping you from being where God wants to take you? And I think that's the part that many people miss.
Yeah. And you don't have to be an alcoholic to stop drinking. You don't have to be a shopaholic. Just cut down a little, will you?
Yes, yes. I mean, there's just, I mean, I tell you, I don't miss it, right? For me, I don't miss it, and I'm just a more patient person. I see myself being more patient. I'm more compassionate. And I'm that helps me to be more loving to our customers. We've implemented so many new process and procedures that it's a different high level of thinking, and it shows up in my daily walk. So just I recommend everybody right now, whatever it is that you're not doing that you need to do, that hard thing, love yourself enough to make those hard changes.
True. And you know what? I'm not a big drinker. So when I go to events or anywhere, if I'm anywhere, everyone's like, "Oh, do you want, don't you want a drink?" Like that. It's kind of funny the way we do this. If I say I just want some mineral water, I don't like pop. It's like the only bad for you thing that I don't like. I like chips, I like cake, but I don't like pop for whatever reason. I don't like drinking sweet stuff unless it's hot chocolate with marshmallows in it. I really don't want it if it's sweet. And so
Yes.
here, because I love sweet food, I could eat that until the cows come home. And I always get questions like, "Oh, did you like stop drinking?" And I'm like, "No, I drink. Honestly, I drink when I feel like it, but I don't feel like it that often because I'm almost always the designated driver. And so just on that, I'm not going to drive and drink. That's an absolute out of the
Yeah.
but
Well, the thing is this, right? I realize when you say I quit drinking, people say, "Well, what's wrong with you?" Like nothing. Like, why do I have to drink? There's nothing wrong with me. So the wisdom that God gave me is just to say I don't drink. So when you hear from I don't drink, well then But when you say I quit drinking, well, what happened, right? Like you open yourself up, so you got to have the wisdom to articulate the right words. And I
Yeah.
just say I don't drink.
You know what? If I
And you
feel
know what? And you know what? It's I'm not even exaggerating. I'm probably saving just with everything because right, sometimes I buy somebody drinks too. We had Valentine's Day last night. Last night I think our bill was like $100 even plus a tip, right? 100 and whatever. But normally that bill would have been like close to 200 because of we would have had and that would have been another. So literally we're saving thousands a month, and I can't even. So I'm excited, and thank you for having me here, Miriam. I'm excited to be here. Just thank you for, I wanted to make time. I appreciate it. And Rosemary says repeat the offer. So I'll put it in. So Rosemary, text the word millionaire to 210-942. As a matter of fact, let me type it in there real quick. That way people can see it. You get the free PDF, and then you're going to get a 30-minute complimentary discovery session. It's not really an offer, it's just my giveaway to serve the community here. Text
you,
the word right, millionaire.
you can put it in this chat here as well as the one on Facebook.
Okay. Text
Perfect.
the word millionaire to 210-942-5059. And you're going to get, I just put the chat in there for you, Rosemary. You're going to get the millionaire PDF. You can frame it. It's really, really nice. And then you're going to get a complimentary discovery session with me at no investment, no cost. I just see what I can coach you to and help you with complimentary 30-minute discovery session. And that's my gift to y'all on that. So, but I'm excited. And any other question before I sign off?
I'm just checking the chat to see if there is any.
Okay,
All I
no
see,
worries.
I'm 6.5 years sober, says Ivy. Congratulations, Ivy. Congratulations to anyone who is, doing any kind of, because I think everything is addiction. I think food is an addiction. I think shopping, back to that. I did a lot of shopping therapy when I was leaving my husband because, stress, right? So stress eating, stress shopping. I'm not huge into alcohol, but this is equally as difficult to leave. So anyways,
Yeah.
I got to get you on my podcast as well now. My meditation.
Yes, we'll do a podcast swap and then also a session. So just, ladies and gentlemen, click your discovery session with me. I love to help you. It's amazing just being here with y'all guys, and love yourself enough to make the hard changes is all I can say because I'm doing it. Is it easy? It's never easy, but you know what? On the other side of it, it's worth it. You can either, I'll end with this. You can either do the hard up front and get the easy on the back, or you can think the easy in the front and then it's hard as crap on the back. And I've learned do the hard up front. That way the easier gets better.
Oh, you heard it. This is a great deal. Thank you so much for offering that. Daniel, thank you for coming on and sharing. Thank you for being so authentic, and just thank you. And everyone take advantage of his deal because he's a big deal. So
Thank you, love. I appreciate you. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
thank you. Have a great day. Thank you.